Kehlani has been in the game for a long time, and it surprises me, and it doesn't surprise me, that she hasn't blown up. There's a lot that we don't see that happens in the industry, and she is one of the prime examples of not doing things to please higher up people. Now, don't get me wrong, she has had some hits, and people would probably know her most from her song on the Suicide Squad. Well, I won't say the Suicide Squad since they redid it, but the one from 2016, the soundtrack, Gangsta. Since it's more commercialized than any of her other tracks have been. But it doesn't surprise me because she likes to make the music that she wants. Her listeners have this preference of her to come out with 90s type music, and she doesn't want to be just that type. Little Story gives a lot of alter references, and it makes us as the listener believe that this album will be more personal than before. And it's making me think of her LP While We Wait, which somehow I think I liked more than this album. Any Given Sunday is fun because it's casual, but it reminds me of a few of her other songs, and this might be what kind of threw me off at some points. I was wanting more of it was good until it wasn't, kind of evolved, and it gave more of Distraction from 2015 or even Sweet Sexy Savage. I like the Shooter interlude because it reminds me of that gangster Kehlani that we love to listen to, and I also wanted more of this. It's sweet and simple melodies. I'm not really fond of her track Wish I Never, and I think it's because on this track she actually tries to give us her usual R&B self, but it's when she's not trying with the beats and heavy rhythms, and that's when it works the most. But this throws me off because it seems like it doesn't fit. This track seems like it should have been a throwaway. I'll also say that when I first saw the trailer for Bluewaterroad, I was expecting more melodies like on Alter and more of a lyrical performance. Wish I Never is just a sample that I could go without listening to. Up All Night is another example for me. I love her voice on this track, but I'm not sure why Justin Bieber was the choice here. He sounds kind of out of place, but I will say that he does have, this R&B kind of thing going on, especially with hits like Peaches and stuff like that. So it's not that he's completely out of his era or area. It's just that he just sounds out of place on this track, but it works for streams, and ultimately that's what matters. The flute or almost whistle tune reminds me that Justin is featured. He uses that a lot as his signature. With the track Get Me Started, I really enjoyed the whisper singing. This track seems more natural than any other track so far on the album, and I think Syd was a great feature. She adds a lot of sensuality to the song. The track More Than I Should reminds me a lot of another track of hers that I couldn't quite put my finger on, but the first bit did. I do like the kind of funk that progresses as we keep listening. It's almost hard to tell their voices apart on the next track, and that's something that I've noticed before with Jessie Reyez, the raspiness being the only way to tell them apart. And I kind of hate when producers do this, or whoever it is that makes those decisions. We've seen something like this time after time. Another example is Beyonce and the track she did with Shakira, Beautiful Liar. They will literally make them look alike and sound alike and act alike. Also, another example that's coming into my head is the WAP song with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. They literally intertwine their hair, so that kind of mirroring is something to pay attention to, but I've never been fond of that. They're not even in the same area, so why intertwine them? Another example that I just thought of in the video of Normani and Cardi B, Wild Side, they do that mirroring thing in that video as well, and it kind of irritates me because why do they do that? Like, they don't need to look alike, they don't need to sound alike, they don't need to be doing the same movements. It's all to trick our eye of some sort of way. I do enjoy the track Melt. It's natural. It has a natural bond that goes well with Alter. The streaming and swirling chords are strong, and it gives great delivery. She gives a great delivery on that track. Alter is also my favorite, just because it's different from her last projects, and it sets the expectations high for the album. I think that Alter was a great single to lead with, because it prepared us for the album. I also love her track Tangerine. This fits the album very well. It's vocally her. It's her style, and it's the 90s vibe that we all want from her, and it comes naturally. And it also gives a great like floating sensation, or like magical sensation, and it's noticeable. Everything comes a few tracks after the interlude of the same name, and I like the beginning. It reminds me of the middle of her song on her last project, Open, Passionate, from It Was Good Until It Wasn't. Wondering / Wandering, I'm not really sure how you say that. Wondering and Wandering, I'm not really sure. This song leaves you with the feeling that she's still searching, but she still feels lost, like many of us. She could be wondering about a potential partner and getting closer to them. So this album went a lot of different directions, in my opinion, but initially it all comes down to love and her saying what she wants in, a few different ways. I feel like the most impactful track for me was Wondering / Wandering. My favorite line from this album was, "I can't tell where your hair ends and mine begins. If I ain't have all these tattoos, I would think that it's your skin. If I move too quick past you, I would think it's my reflection." I love that. I don't know why I love that, but I love how like she's really talking about this person like they're one, like they go together, they fit together so well, they're perfect for each other. And I am a romantic, so that's definitely something I was wanting to hear. So my takeaways from this album are Alter, of course, Tangerine, and Melt. I give the rating for the album a B-, just because I feel like this was the first Kehlani project that I can't listen all the way through to. Usually I can play her music without skipping, but this was the first half of the album, just didn't do it for me. I was expecting it to be much better, but I give it a B- because she did deliver, especially with the last half of the album, and it was very well put together. This album is mature and confident, but it lacks more of the natural R&B feeling that I'm used to hearing, and that's very possible as to why I disagree with some of the first few tracks on the album. Either way, I'm always going to love Kehlani's music and her voice and her style. She brings a lot of personality and a lot of swag and gangster and R&B and just so many wonderful things into her music. So I'm interested to see what is next for Kehlani, what her next project is going to be looking like. Thanks for listening.